What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I see the title's going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. It says Ilhan Omar is not American. If she traveled to a country on earth, not one person would say, "Oh, look, she's American." It's wild. I'm not gonna lie. But one thing about it, I mean, just the way that she is as a person, like everybody knowing, you know what I mean? One of those things. What she's, how she treats everyone, what she does, the way that she speaks, and the way that she acts. It all shows, that she has no character.
To me, it's always been about supporting the nation. It's been about supporting the people. It's about looking at it as a verb, right? It's something that it should be actionable. If you love your country, if you love its people, then that should encourage you to have radical love, to make sure everybody has dignity and their humanity is uplifted. When I was younger, I got involved in getting people to civically engage, registering people to vote, changing the way our party interacted with people who could not fully access the system in order to participate, and making it more accessible for people. And
care about
then
nobody.
when I became an educator, it was important to me, because I used to teach nutrition, teach people like what vitamins were good for them, and how to cook well. But I was in rooms with people who are like, I'm trying to get my driver license. I can't find an apartment I can afford. I'm trying to apply for my citizenship. I don't have the resources to do so. And I realized that there was always, whether people were complaining about the pothole or the trash not being picked up on time, there was always a policy connection. And that policy connection had a human being that was making those decisions on our behalf. And so it was activating myself and activating my students, my neighbors, and myself to actually try to get to know these people who are seeking to represent us or who already represent us. So I started doing meet your representative events, so people can understand that if you're having challenges with your school district, there are school board people who get elected, that oftentimes people that are down ballot, oftentimes people don't even know or vote. You have your county commissioners. They're oftentimes in our state, they're the ones who, are in charge of delivering the services. You have your state representatives that are making the policy decisions on behalf of the state. And then, there's those of us who represent you on a federal level that truly do shape. I hear people say, I don't do politics. Politics does you. And so if you're not involved, then it's hard to see the kind of change that you want to see.
The only thing Ilhan Omar is involved in is all the fraud that's been happening. I'll tell y'all that right now. You can definitely tell that she doesn't care about anybody but Somalians. And it's truly sickening. Truly sickening. I'll tell you that much. I'm telling y'all. You have right here, this Democrat, Francisca Home, says that Ilhan Omar, who said that America is one of the worst countries, inspires her.
Talk about why it's important for you to have the backing of such a polarizing figure, even though she's not from your state. Why does this matter to you to have her there, and why is she important to your race?
The Congresswoman has done a phenomenal job of showing what it looks like to lead with moral conviction and courage. I'm deeply inspired by the fact that the issues that she's championing for human rights, for childcare, for ensuring paid leave, these are things that Americans care about all across the country. And when people are polarizing, not the issues, but manufacturing lies about her, I think that it's important that our women and girls and kids all across the country see two strong women of color come together fighting for everyone's rights. Doesn't matter what your background, your zip code, or what your faith may be.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. My daughters, they have enough common sense, even at the age of 2 and 6, to know, more so about 3 and 6, about to be 3, knowing more so about Ilhan Omar and this individual, Francisca Hong. Obviously, going to know more about this individual because I truly needed to. I'm not gonna lie. This individual here is Wisconsin governor candidate Francisca Hong. Doesn't just hate when it comes down to white people, but also call for violence against President Trump. Check out what she says here, y'all.
In the restaurant industry, when we're out of something, we say it's 86th. And I'd say it's about time we 86 Trump.
Wow.
He represents the utter failure of our government to keep us safe from threats, both viral and systemic. In the restaurant industry,
I'm telling y'all can't sit here and tell me. And honestly, you can definitely tell. You can almost definitely tell. All my headphones. I got a low battery, y'all. You can definitely tell this individual. She's not right. She's truly not right. Says their leading candidate for governor, Francisca Hong, wants to abolish the police, abolish prisons, abolish borders, and raise your taxes for government-run grocery stores. Who does that sound like, y'all? Who does that sound like? I'm telling y'all.
DSA candidate Francisca Hong, she's leading in these recent polls, Congressman. Your thoughts on the DSA now targeting Wisconsin, because whoever wins that primary on August 11th is likely going to be your opponent.
I know some are trying to head this off. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it because there's great passion amongst some in the base of the Democrat Party to adopt socialism. But we're going to find out whether they capitulate or not. And if they do, there is going to be, first of all, there's a clear contrast already, but there's going to be a really clear contrast because the Democrat that you see on the screen here, she's called for abolishing prisons, abolishing the police, not just defunding the police, abolishing police, and taking over, having government-run grocery stores. It is as extreme as you can get. The contrast is going to be very clear if someone like her is elected.
I'm going to tell y'all right now, people need to wake up and realize. People need to wake up and realize. We're seeing this too much. Where it's starting to it's just not right. It's just not right. It doesn't make sense. You truly have Ilhan Omar, you got Francisca, you have we talk about Zohran Mamdani. When you have these individuals that are all on the same page of doing these things, is not right for America. People need to wake up and realize what's going on. I'm telling y'all that right now. Ilhan Omar had words for this Francisca Hong.
Medicare for all is electable. And so Francisca Hong isn't waiting for someone to tell her what is electable, because Francisca Hong is electable. And that is the reason why she is the leader we need in this moment.
I'm going to tell y'all right now, anybody that has themselves around Ilhan Omar, around her, anybody that she's obviously supporting, trust and believe, if they already don't have truly bad intentions, they will. If they're not in something that they should be along in, anything corrupt, trust and believe. They ain't doing it now. They definitely will when it comes down to Ilhan Omar. I truly feel as if when it comes down to Ilhan Omar, the way that she's moving, the things that she's doing, she's running she dang near running the empire. And that's exactly why. This is exactly why. And I say this, and I know it sounds crazy coming out of my mouth, but just think about all the fraud. Think about all the things that's happening. And that name you always hear when it comes down to the smallest, Ilhan Omar. You hear Tim Walz, you hear, Keith Ellis, you hear these different names, but you hear the Ilhan Omar. You truly do. You got it right here. Says Ilhan Omar wants to show up, 7 days. Says here why Minnesota's 5th district should not. Her own staffer convicted in the $9 billion fraud scheme. Convicted fraudster Bach implicated her directly from prison. $30 million vanished from her financial disclosures overnight. DOJ actively investigating her, confirmed by Vice President J.D. Vance. Refused to testify before Congress, ghosted fraud investigators, missed documents, deadlines, which I've showed and told y'all this numerous times, called 9/11, some people who did some things. Arrived with nothing, now potentially worth $44 million. And it's somebody that, people are truly supporting. I find it insane. I truly do. Truly, truly do. Now I brought up Tim Walz. Got it right here. According to Victor Davis Hanson, the Justice Department is preparing to file RICO charges on Tim Walz. $700 million suitcases were taken out of the country by Somali carriers right through the Minnesota airport. So who else wants Walz, Ellison, and Lamar to stand for trial for this?
So we're going to turn our attention back to the Somali fraud investigation. As we've discussed before, authorities have discovered suitcases containing hundreds of millions of dollars in a Minnesota airport. Now, in the meantime, Republicans are working to cut funding for Somali-led organizations with alleged ties to the massive fraud scandal. Now, as the FBI pushes forward with its own investigation, one key question arises. What does accountability even look like in this case moving forward? So joining us now to talk about all of this and more is New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Great to be on with you, too. What a crazy time we're seeing here, aren't we?
Absolutely insanity. And I know oversight in the House is looking into these fraud allegations, but I wonder if it's even bigger than we have uncovered thus far. The $700 million in cash going out of the airports there. I have a feeling we are still just scratching the surface.
Yeah, it looks really bad, and obviously very alarming to see that this U.S. cash has been legally going through our airports. And of course, there is a requirement of reporting if you're going to carry more than $10,000. There's a reporting requirement, but I think a really interesting part about this is if, isn't it going to be a little suspicious when you start seeing 10,000, 100,000, millions, and now, more, as John reported earlier, more money that goes through JFK, goes through the Minneapolis airport. Something's wrong there. And I think something that's very interesting that we impose on banks is that banks are required under banking law to require and file and keep track of what they call suspicious activity reports. This is something I think we need to do now when we see the large amounts of U.S. cash, and it's always U.S. cash. I mean, you're not going to see, Chinese yen or anything else going through there. And U.S. cash is king, and we need to certainly have this type of cash exchange reported. It's interesting because you see all this illegal immigration we've had over this time. And by the way, most of those Somalis that are in Minnesota probably came through a refugee program, and probably many of them are already legal American citizens. So suspicious activity reports, some kind of accounting for cash, I think would really be helpful. I'm looking at ways that we might be able to do this so that we could actually look at what's going on. Banks are required to do that. Individuals are not. But I'll tell you, if I'm a TSA agent or anyone else and I see this kind of cash going through,
exactly,
and that you're able to report the amount of cash going through, that it's happening in plain sight. We're seeing corruption in plain sight. Most of the remittances that go back often go to these foreign countries, and there's substantial portions of their economy, whether it's Guatemala and Mexico and other countries. Their own workers are sending that money back. But this is at a level that is just unprecedented. And I really think we need to look into a way to track that and to actually show that we can hold them accountable, and that type of suspicious activity leads to fraud, arrest, and what we're seeing unfold every day in Minnesota, which seems to get worse by the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. I want to ask about the two most common way illegal aliens, also legal aliens, by the way, legal residents of the United States, but move money out of the country, remittance payment centers, and of course these cash couriers like the ones that we're working out of the Minneapolis airport. Is there any thought in Congress to requiring that a remittance payment business or a cash courier ascertain and make sure that before they move money, the person that they're moving money from out of the United States is a lawful resident or citizen?
Yeah, I think that should be a requirement. And also they should have some kind of certification that you are a person that we can trust. Our intelligence forces have already vetted that you can be carrying these huge amounts of cash back and forth to other countries. And I don't think those types of laws are in place. And I think that's a really good way to start having accountability and also tracking where this cash leaving the United States is going. And look what it would have led to had we paid attention to this over the last 10 years and what you reported earlier on $700 million. I mean, that's almost $1 billion going, I think it was 700 million going, through an airport in Minneapolis, not JFK. Amazing, right?
But they're taking, from what I've learned, is that they're taking different routes. I'm pretty sure it's some other state, that they're going to, and then they go through Dubai. They're going through all these different routes, and then they end up either wiring it from somewhere from a different country, or they're taking it straight to Somalia. So they're basically taking all this money and taking it to Somalia, which is definitely insane. From what I've read, I'm telling y'all. It says right here, President Trump criticized Somali immigration, and Representative Ilhan Omar saying Somalia has caused us a lot of trouble, and questioning U.S. support for the country. Check out what President Trump says right here.
Hi, sir.
Sure. Hi.
What do the Somalians have to do with this Afghan guy who shot the national?
Nothing, but Somalians have caused a lot of trouble. They're ripping us off for a lot of money. There's a tremendous amount of money going back to Somalia. What the hell are we paying money to Somalia for?
Exactly.
But they're ripping off our country at a level that few people have been able to see before. That's about the only thing. You talk about competence. We have Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country and our Constitution. And she comes from a country with practically no country. It's devastated, it's crime-ridden, it's a mess, it's a disgrace. And we took their people at a tremendous... We're not taking their people anymore. We're not taking their people. And we're getting a lot of their people out because they're nothing but trouble. Okay, thank you.
Don't blame it at all. I'm not even going to lie. Nothing but trouble. You got it right here. Says, be honest. And this is a question that I've been waiting all video for this question. Be honest. Would you rather deport Mandani and Ilhan Omar, or deport 50,000 criminal illegal immigrants? Don't try to get me in the comments and say, oh, well, both. Pick one. I want to see what everybody say. I truly do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love, everybody. Catch y'all next one.